Danial Mausoof, VP Technology and Solutions, Middle East and Africa, Mobile Networks, and Nokia, will explore in his keynote how CSPs and enterprises can transform and unlock value within the AI hypercycle with intelligent connectivity.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here. Big congratulations to Telecom Review for another great event. And happy to be here. This is my 4th time, even though this is the 19th summit. And it's always great to see everyone coming here. So it's hard to carry a show after all the leaders that have talked about what's going to happen in telco, from all the panels to Fahad in the morning, who talked about how we need to bring together the network, not from a pipe perspective, but really take it to the next level of driving services opportunities. So that'll resonate with what we need to build as part of networks moving forward. But networks are really not a pipe. And I think I wanted to start with something. We've talked about AI so much. And we thought we will start a little bit about what intelligent connectivity will mean in the future. But the first thing, I was doing a presentation a couple of weeks ago, and I thought, let me ask ChatGPT what it would say if we continue to build networks and where the challenge lies. So ChatGPT came up with this little cartoon. And the cartoon basically said, we keep building coverage. We need to go and make sure that the coverage is well established for all parts of the networks. But monetization continues to be a challenge. And we've heard this again and again in the morning, that monetization remains to be a channel. The only difference when ChatGPT did create this, the ARPU was going down, but so was the red line, and it was titled CapEx. So if I left it at CapEx, I would do a disservice to Nokia because we want the CapEx to go up. But here, I changed that to profit just to show that we do have a challenge when it comes to monetization. And this is where we need to step up, where we see networks coming together. And it is really about the physics and the economics coming together. So we have in the past, and I apologize to Cisco, McKinsey, and others who are in the room. This is not to really challenge anyone, but the reality is, if anyone has been in the industry more than 15, 20 years, which looking at the room, it looks like this is the case, including myself, you will see that we've all talked about things are going to be above the hype cycle. We'll have 50 billion of this, we'll have 70 billion of this, we will have 100 billion revenue of MEC, we will contribute 3 trillion to the GDP per capita, we're going to change everything, we're going to deliver a 5G promise to 80% of the network. And the reality is, it takes time. You have to get the physics and the economics together. And I think that is where we've been using this term that connectivity is a pipe. That has to change. And the way it changes is if you look at what's happening now with RedCap, we're actually starting to see the economics of IoT making sense. And we have come back to how connectivity is really playing a role here. But now GSMA says we have 500 million IoT connections by the end of 2030, which would be great because ultimately it is about intelligence of the devices. My colleague from DO said we have 15 devices today, and we will have 25 or 30 devices in the next few years. And that's important. But the physics and the economics, we need to learn how to make money from that, and the consumers need to use it better. So why is that the case? The case is fragmentation and complexity in networks, and that continues to be the case. We have so many different fragments coming together when it comes to network complexity. We have business model and economics. Mr. Usman Sultan really, talked about, with his experience, why the economic business model of such services is difficult to come through. And if you look at the ecosystem, you need to bring that together as well. Many parts of the network, many partners need to come together. And of course, timing matters. If you have a network capability and the devices are not there, guess what? You're not going to make money from it. So ultimately, you need to make sure timing is ultimately right for you to create value. And that is why unlocking this value is important. And if you look at the monetization imperative here for the operators, for the industry, it has been around subscription conversion, checked. DO has done it incredibly well. Fixed wireless access, in fact, maybe the best in the world. Some of the best examples sit in UAE, and that is due to the leadership of the country, of Do, Etisalat, and other operators in the region where we have fixed wireless access as a service. And of course, giving customer experience beyond anything that we expected. But there's more opportunities coming for monetization. And to pick a few, I would probably say latency critical computing is an important one. You've got edge compute and AI RAN, which is what I want to talk about a little bit more, because this is what Nokia announced in their Capital Markets Day roughly about 3 weeks ago. And all of those elements of monetization will play a very important role with the connectivity that is there today. So we have done the connectivity. Again, we have checked connectivity is there. We've got uplink. We're talking about peak data rates of 350. We're building some of the most impressive networks here in this region for the enterprise, which requires uplink and distances which are unheard of. So we're doing that today very well. We're looking at RedCap, and we're doing trials with Do, Etisalat, STC, and making it successful, providing device certifications for Apple. So all that is in place. We have L4S that comes and plays an important role for real-time applications, and then NTN playing an important role in how you can provide coverage today to rural, but also be an important part of the networks of the future as we see them. So what's changing? What's changing is what we've been talking about all morning. There are two things that are changing. The traffic patterns are going to change tremendously. This is a Bell Labs study, and the Bell Labs study puts it at a moderate to high growth. So this is a moderate chart about what happens. And if you look at the CAGR for enterprise or CAGR for consumer or industrial applications, is really at a 30% plus on a moderate scale. If you were to change it to a more aggressive scale, you're probably looking at 45, 50%. And aggressive has certain parameters. You duplicate, say how much fixed wireless access growth is going to be there, how many 5G users are going to be there. So this is a moderate comparison to what's going to happen in AI traffic. And this is due to the devices and others that you see across all of the RedCap ecosystem, the IoT ecosystem that's going to play a role as we move forward. So now the connectivity paradigm has shifted. It is about AI native telco. This is something we have talked about in the morning as well. The second is about a network cloud continuum. And just in the fireside chat before, my colleague was talking about how we're in the driving seat. And this is an important part about what that seat actually controls in the ecosystem that we're delivering. Access, we said we've got it. We have many parameters in access that need to be converted, and ultimately devices that need to come together as well. So what does all that come down to is on the bottom of the chart, what you see here is that you have a network ecosystem. What is a network ecosystem? You've got your CSPs, ISPs, other providers that are sitting there providing connectivity, so to speak, the pipe. Then you've got cloud ecosystem. You've got AWS here and others who've got their cloud, everything in place, and now we need to converge it to the middle layer. What's the middle layer? Is ultimately compute. You've got your edge, you've got your cloud fusion, and then you have your security and other parameters that make a successful network work, ultimately to be monetized by network-aware APIs, by the governments, enterprises. These two we've been talking about for decades now. But there are other areas that are coming up. Content developers. You can actually create partnership with content developers, and that's going to create a revenue scheme. You can do it with network ecosystem players. That's going to create a quantum shift on how monetization needs to be done through this cloud continuum that we talk about. This brings together a very strong structure together where we need to change how RAN looks today, radio access networks. And this is what we announced at GTC with NVIDIA. What Nokia sees is that we will have to transform the traditional networks in some manner. We have done that, so there has been innovation in pockets across the vendor ecosystem. The operators have built so much innovation locally, but ultimately, radio access networks needs to be innovated. And what we are saying now is we have efficiency, and Mikko talked about this morning that AI on RAN, for RAN, and RAN is something AI RAN Alliance is defining. It gives us the guidance of what needs to be done from both orchestration of networks, or providing network API for monetization, or ultimately AI and RAN. AI and RAN is about providing GPU-based services on the edge. So Nokia announced that we're going to be looking at our already established AnyRAN software, and we're going to add what we call Arc Pro, which is an NVIDIA-based GPU, into our baseband today. And what that does is it'll allow us to run test cases on inference and others on the edge. That means your AI workloads will move to the edge. Now, we're not saying we're going to get rid of the traditional 4G, 5G that is sitting on the baseband. What we're saying is we're going to complement it with the services that we can offer to enterprises, industry, content developers, and others. Now, question is, do the physics and economics work? The real answer is no, not yet. But I think we're putting the R&D effort in place to make sure that does work, because ultimately how we envision the future of telco is no different from any of the operator leaders that spoke this morning. We see the telco in the driving seat. We see digital twin models changing how we see things in the telco. We see infrastructure and services just sitting in the bottom, but trying to drive intent-based operations across their own network, as well as the networks and slices and services that they provide, or providing hyper-personalized customer experience. On the right-hand side, ensuring that we have devices, ecosystem that we're able to build, operate, manage, but ultimately monetize. And then, of course, making sure that we've got a very happy customer, may it be an enterprise, may it be a government, may it be a content developer, or may it be a consumer, and not definitely in that order. So we've got a strong future for AI-native telcos. Now we have to converge as an industry to make sure there is no fragmentation. We don't bring devices before where we fail certain elements, and that's something that we will work together as an industry. And as we walk forward, Nokia has been around for the number of times all Nokia employees have to explain that we're not in devices. That's, everyone asks, oh, you're still in infrastructure and new devices. But I think what is important is we're at a rebirth again for Nokia. And this time it is about from connecting people to connecting intelligence. And I would just play a video which is about 90 seconds, and I'll leave you with that. Thank you for listening. It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day.